Hey, this is Christian. Let's get started with a brief overview of my proposed thesis project in its current iteration. Tentacular, the agency of speculative fiction and augmented reality. This project will be a non-linear, interactive exploration of the agential capacity of media and the value of creative speculative works conveyed through a fictional narrative in augmented reality, with each path not a branch of the story, but a tentacle with the agency to reach out and take hold of the user. At this stage of my thesis project, I will begin prototyping, with a focus on which technology will be most appropriate and how the user interface will be implemented. I'll be using a research creation methodology to consider how AR might be used to facilitate a non-linear speculative fiction narrative, exploring human perception, the nature of reality, and how media alters the way reality is perceived. The relationship between humans, consciousness, technology, and perception will also be examined, as well as whether media is imbued with the agential capacity to alter consciousness and the way in which reality is understood and experienced. The primary focus for this prototyping phase will be to determine which device the experience will be developed for, along with the software development kit that will be most optimal for that hardware, and capable of the functionalities I hope to include. Through iteration, this process will also help to define the user interface and affordances that will be made available to the user. While my previous AR projects have been developed for handheld devices, this experience will ideally be made for a wearable headset. This will almost certainly make development more complicated, as there are very few commercially available options, all of which are quite expensive and tend to have limited AR capabilities. Since this project is meant to be a speculative work itself, I feel it is important to develop for the future of where the technology will be soon, while keeping in mind what will actually be possible to realize. As I was reviewing previous thesis projects from Digital Futures alumni, I came across Nick Alexander's project Playtime for Punctum, which used a technology stack including an HTC Vive VR headset with a Z Mini camera and Leap Motion hand tracking technology to create what is functionally a relatively advanced AR headset. This is definitely an approach I will consider, as it allows for more robust interactive scene development similar to that seen in virtual reality, in addition to controllerless hand tracking with gesture-based manipulation of virtual objects. As for the development program I'll use, I'll most likely be working in Unity, possibly in conjunction with Vuforia if necessary. In the past, I've used Wireframe, which no longer exists, Apple's Reality Composer, which is remarkably user-friendly but a bit too simple for this project, and Vuforia with Unity, which was very challenging to get the hang of, but extremely flexible. I'm not sure if I'll need to use the anchor tracking technology that Vuforia offers, as I would like to move away from the 2D image and 3D object tracking to create an environment-based AR experience. Vuforia does allow for ground plane detection, so I'll keep that in mind if it helps to stabilize the experience. Although this project is in the very early stages of development, and I only have a rough idea how specifically the experience will manifest, I have a pretty good grasp of the themes I would like to explore, and as I'm working on concepts for the fictional narrative, I'd like to leave room for new discoveries in the research creation process that may inform the ultimate direction of the final experience. I would also like to expand on my previous AR projects, and may even include a revised version of them as part of the experience. The message in the media was developed as a series of cards that acted as 2D AR anchors, which showcased the way creative fiction in media may alter our experience of the world. This is one of the main themes I would like to include as one of the sections or tentacles for my project, and the cards could be adapted to be entirely virtual as a series of animated 3D posters. Media Metamorphosis uses 3D printed objects as anchors in a meta-analysis of media objects including the book, the radio, the television, and the computer, exploring the inherent message specific to each respective medium, presented as an assemblage of clips. Instead of being mapped onto miniature models, this could also be adapted to be entirely virtual but appear to be life-sized. By showcasing the storytelling affordances of previous forms of media, This is meant to imply that the possibilities of augmented reality as a new medium are only beginning to emerge. Starting today with the beginning of our CFC Media Lab prototyping, this initial prototype presentation is meant to be an introduction and overview of the prototyping phase of this project. For the next iteration of the prototyping proposal, I'll be refining and defining the scope. Once I have a chance to present and discuss my final prototyping proposal to CFC mentors, I'll be confirming my approach and begin iterating on the project. By August 3rd, I'll be presenting the sketch for my prototype, followed by a process of reflecting, revising, and repeating, with mentor feedback as I iterate on the prototype. There's still quite a few more tentacles I hope to develop and include, and I will only use the two aforementioned options for my previous AR projects if they're contextually appropriate for the story. But I'm excited to use this time to prototype and get a feel for how this tentacular narrative will start to take shape. I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone's prototypes come together. Thanks for listening.
Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh.
It's a maniacal laugh moment.
Now that's a maniacal laugh for you!